One of the biggest surprises to me from this year's Global Connectedness Index is that the world is still less connected than it was in 2007. What we've seen is not just a financial crisis, we've seen a very slow recovery from that financial crisis along a number of dimensions.
There are three major takeaways. The first is that the Connectedness Index has not reached again the level of 2007 before the crisis. So that means the index declined. The second is that the overall level of connectedness is still on a relatively low level. Many people might think that globalization is already everywhere, but if you read the detail, it's still very narrow to the countries and in some places still on a very low level anyway. The third takeaway is that even countries who are well connected already, like the Netherlands, who's number one, can improve further and can definitely grow if they connect themselves more to other countries and other regions of the world. 9 out of the 10 most connected countries are in Europe. And that's a reflection of what has happened in the last 50 years in Europe after the war, that really the Union got together and the countries get more connected. If you see the great development at the same time of Europe from the 50s until now, it demonstrates how much connectivity can promote economic development, development of democracies if you think about the eastern part of Europe. So I think it shows very clearly that there is a link between the level of quality, how people can live in countries, and the connectivity to the world.
Sub-Saharan Africa, like most poor parts of the world, is much less connected internally and with the rest of the world than Europe is. Having said that, it's interesting and hopeful to note that the 5 countries that experienced the biggest gains in connectedness between the 2011 edition of the report and the 2012 edition of the report were all in Sub-Saharan Africa.
Globalization is very important for economic growth. We even estimate that if we would increase significantly the Connectedness Index, it would free up growth potential for trillions of euro or dollars. So that shows how important globalization is.
I think at a time when policymakers everywhere are looking desperately for sources of growth, probably increasing connectedness is one of the most obvious remedies we have at our disposal to help the world get out of the growth rut that it's in.
Of course, globalization can help. Even we have seen that in the last 18 months in our business, trade was still up in many European countries, despite the fact that the domestic GDP was down. So of course that has softened the recession in some countries, and we believe that productivity gains through work share around the world reduces cost, and cost reduction leads to more wealth at the end of the day because people can afford just more products, and that's a part of globalization, work share around the world. And therefore, yes, we think globalization can help to overcome the recession. But it's not, it's necessary and it can help massively, but it definitely will not be sufficient.
We're going to need the right policies to set the context, but we're also going to need entrepreneurial energies to unlock the potential that those policies offer. And so I think that we really have to think about the future in terms of business working with government rather than trying to decide who's really responsible for global growth. It's a shared responsibility.
The easier the border, the easier the trade, the more growth you will see. And therefore we always say, and that is confirmed by the study very nicely, work how easy trade goes through your borders. Complex customs processes are challenging and for trade, and therefore it holds down growth. And therefore we recommend always make your borders easier and simpler, and goods can fast move across borders.
I'm hoping that the world will return to a pre-crisis level of globalization by next year. Unfortunately, that was my hope for the world this time last year as well. And so whether amidst the backdrop of deteriorating trade forecasts, whether we'll actually get there remains to be seen.
We are connecting people, improving their lives. And this is what logistics does. We are enabling. We have not a value as such. We are enabling that people get access to products, that they are changing the information, and so on and so forth. And that's our contribution. The more effective and efficient logistics make the supply chain, the lower the cost, and that will free up money for other investments, be it in infrastructure or for spending more goods, better education, and whatsoever. So our job is to enable trade globalization and to reduce the processes or the costs which are related to that, make them more efficient and effective. And that is our stimulus somehow and our support of global improvements.